Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. Okay, let's see who's in. Janice Windsor, Adam Ant, Ghosty333, Kai Lucas Zachary, Q Cook Monty, Moonlit Illusion, Dark Wolf's Den is in, Paul NE9 is in. Welcome, everybody. Q Cook Monty, was that you? Yeah, you said something about Shiva. What were you going to say about Shiva? Before I start yapping, you can have your say. It was actually Shari D that mentioned something to me about Shiva. Sometimes when I'm in the chat, though, I just don't get to read everything. But Shari knows me from Retcon, so she sometimes sends me messages through there. So Kyokuk, what were you going to say about Shiva as being different? And then I'll tell you what I noticed. I'm going to jump ahead to something else while I wait for that answer. Okay, this one. Okay, that's the old ones. I was just wondering if you remembered any. Yeah, 6 arms like years ago. But I was thinking Kyokugmani had the balls down below. Let's see. Well, that's the wrong one. Doom, 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 doom. All right, now I'm not sure what you mean. You mean these ones, or see if I can back out of here. Okay, these bumps that are around this little demon, I do remember those for a while. Now these bumps in here have changed for me, but they still are, they're looking a little more like, I'm wondering if they're going to turn into little weird faces, but they're really not clearly anything yet, but they're a little bit more twisted than they were before. On the inside of the ring. Okay, so yeah, we're talking about these little balls. These little, yeah, I've been waiting to see what those are. Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. Shiva has no boobs. Yeah, Lord Frybread, Shiva is now a male in this timeline, and it has been that way for a few years for me. Used to be a female, I agree on that. They look like faces. Yes. I agree with you. They're almost faces now. I agree with you on that. I'm going to, let me talk about what Shari D was saying. Her point was that Shiva is now outside the ring. Now, there was quite a while back, where I mentioned that the leg was kicking way farther out of the ring. The whole Shiva is out of the ring now. You can kind of see with this photo better. I'm going to jump through a few other photos, but basically, Shiva used to be in the ring with just a leg kicking out, and now somehow it's just popped out. So the ring is now behind Shiva instead of being like around. Another thing I noticed you can just see on this is there's hatch marks, like lines on the end of this. I forgot what this thing is supposed to be. It's like a not a tail, but whatever this fabric flowy thing here. There's like hash marks here. That's new. There were no hash marks before. Okay, and now I'm going to go to some of my old saved photos. Now you can't really see the hash marks that well here, which is interesting. Another thing is that Shiva had originally something else in the hand, and quite a whiles back I said that he now has these flames. He took a flame in the hand. I think it was a long stick thing, that is what he had before. Then he suddenly got one of these side flames in the hand. I noticed lately the side flame has a little bowl to it. Like before it was just the flame, but now there's like a bowl and a flame. So that's changed. That's what you can see on this big one. I think these outer flames have gotten a tad larger. Also, another thing about these balls, these little inside rings, they're now got little attachments between them. Before they were just nubs, but now they've got attachments, a secondary attachment in them. I'm not 100%, but I think this might have gotten more extensive down here too. I can't say for sure, but I don't remember this much of a pedestal. Let's see, what else? That's all I think you can really see on that image. Now I've got to jump to the other images, which means I have to get out of the old one. There. Let's see if I can blast through to trying to get to, where did it go? Okay. I don't think there's any change on that one. Somehow I'm bypassing the one I want to be at though here. Shiva, where's the rest of the Shivas? All right, you can't see too much on that one. I also want to say the body here has gotten more feminine and skinny over time. That's just been a real slow progression. I mean, originally it was female, but then it was kind of obviously male when Shiva had turned to male. The body has been getting more and more cheeky looking and kind of suggestive. All right. Okay, I don't think you can kind of see the balls there, and you can see that have these little attachments now. All right, there's a close-up. They're starting to look like little faces, these balls things, but I can't really say for sure yet. The other thing I noticed here is that these things coming off the back of Shiva look like worm heads now or something. Those look like metal before. Now they look like they've turned into some kind of organic worm heads. They didn't have all these cross hatchings with these worm heads before. So that's new. Okay. I think the angle here on this little device is a little bit more tipped also. Just a little bit, kind of a subtle thing, but you can see here that, there didn't used to be this piece here where the head pushes way off of the ring. So you can see it there. The back of the Shiva's also gotten a lot more detailed, slowly, bit by bit. This used to be really plain back here. It was like just the back, so it was empty. And then there was a little bit here, and then you got this thing, then you got this neck thing. Now you got all this. So, also this back here used to be unpatterned, like plain. Now it's got all the patterning. So as it's popping away from the ring, it's getting more on the back of it too. Okay, I think that was everything I wanted to cover on that one. I think that's all. There may be other changes, but that's what I noticed. And then Shari D noticed that it's popped out of the ring now. It's totally out. So, very interesting. Let me see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, Moonlit Illusion. Yeah, Shiva's a male. It's been a couple years, maybe like 3, that Shiva's been a male. And the 2 arms and the 4 arms instead of the 6 arms. You guys didn't know Shiva's not female? That was an old one. The whip. Oh yeah, that's a whip. That's what that thing was. The whip, yeah, it's got the cross hatches on the back. I remember y'all talking about how it was going to come all the way out. Yeah, it looked like that back then. So that's one prediction. So yeah, he's out. I keep saying it's she because she was she for like decades of my life, and now I have to keep. And then the whole body still looks kind of female. Good evening, Mandela Affected Club. Welcome. Creeping creeper, that baby demon defined. Yeah, the worms. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. That used to be, what did they say that thing was before? Oh, like some kind of mystical net thing, but now it looks like worms. Is this an hour early? Not for me. There's been no time changes, and I'm right at noon. People are always saying that. It's an hour late, it's an hour early. I didn't have a time change. If you didn't have a time change, then it should be right on schedule. I'm very suspicious about these people saying that. Not suspicious of you, but that there's some kind of weird time change going on globally or something. KSP Crafter, Kali is the female goddess. Not in my timeline. That was Shiva. Shiva, absolutely Shiva. She there's another one that looks kind of like the old Shiva now, but she had 6 arms and giant boobs. Okay, so that should cover it for Shiva. All right, now this one, Catnap commenter, notice this. Now this is in approximately the position we had discussed before about that other structure. So I was kind of confused at first. How can the partial structure now be a complete structure? So I found this image. You can see this is the structure we were talking about before. And now there's another one up here. So this really goes down deep. It's weird. I don't know if these birds or what are all on the face of the Sphinx here. There's all these black blobs up here too. I've never seen an image with, like, do they have pigeons in Egypt now? I don't know. Anyway, it's just weird. I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I don't remember this structure being up here. I didn't have a time to figure out what the heck it was, but that's another one to keep an eye on. So we have 2 now. This is the one we don't know what it is. Interesting angles here. All right, so keep an eye on, there's so much going on in Egypt. So many lines now on the pyramid. First it was just this one. Now it's all these ones too. Look at the capstone areas looking really scabby too. It didn't used to look it looks all like moth-eaten up here. Didn't used to look that bad. Yeah, look at the back of the Sphinx looks like hideous too. Really looking scabby. All right. All right, this one is from Frontal Suture. This is from Lou Horton. Found this residue. He remembers a cranial, I used to call them fissures, but now they're sutures. I'm still calling them fissures. Cranial fissure going down the middle. You know, I know they've changed a bunch, but it kind of drives me crazy that I can't remember exactly how they were. But this does look right to me. I'm not 100%, but I do think I remember a suture going up the middle. Fissure going up the middle. So he found this old, like this art that's kind of like a residual. It's kind of interesting because you look into it. There's quite a number. This is supposed to be a replica of a real skull. You can see there's a fissure going right up the middle on this one. So I looked, okay, are we even supposed to have those? According to this that's the frontal suture, and it's supposed to be completely fused between 3 and 9 months of age. So you shouldn't have these adults with it. I guess it's possible that someone has an unfused one, but I found a surprising number of adult skulls with this fissure going down the middle. So if it's super rare, you wouldn't expect them to be making a replica with it and not mentioning that it's abnormal in any way when it clearly is if this is an adult skull. Now this is what it's supposed to look like, all healed. In my old timeline, the fissures never healed such that you couldn't see them at all. You can see this is completely shiny and healed up. It used to be that they would heal and fill in, but you could always see, you know, as the human age, you could still see traces of the old fissure. But in this timeline, apparently this frontal suture heals completely, which is not something I've ever seen. Now, these are some fetal skulls to kind of give you an idea, apparently, what we're dealing with right now with these fissures. They just kind of start on the top and radiate down. That was not how it was for me. And then the back, it goes around, and there's one Y split in the back. So that gives you an idea. It seems to me that these holes and these fissures are just getting bigger and bigger as I shift. The spot in the top of the head of the open spot on the babies is getting bigger. So I just wanted to mention that because it's interesting. It seems like these cave out spots in the head are continuing to expand. People have kind of like ridges along here now. Didn't used to have that. Some of the newer changes. It doesn't seem to be as rapid changes as there was before, though. The other thing I wanted to mention as far as stuff to look at, I would definitely keep an eye on the structure under the foot. I've had a lot of weird achies like on the bottom of my foot, and it's an area that on both feet, and it's an area that I normally have never experienced soreness, and I haven't really done anything. And even if I did, I wouldn't expect it to be on both feet. I mean, like I've done things that are much more, I haven't done anything strenuous or exciting in the last few days, so there's really no reason for that. So I know if you guys are getting that, I don't know, but it might be some kind of shifting going on. All right. I don't know if you remember these. I used to think they were called geoducks, but they're clams that have this very suggestive part to them. And this wasn't in my old timeline. This timeline likes that kind of suggestive stuff. So these guys, they look like something, obviously. Something that's going to guarantee that I'm going to get this video flagged due to their algorithms, and then I'll have to plead the fifth and say, no, I wasn't really doing any porn. So just this week, I see that these things now squirt, because in case you didn't have a good enough imagination already, these things now squirt out water. There you go. I think that the apparently they take in water and they'll squirt it back out. So also, these are not called geoducks. They're called gooey ducks. I saw that on a Reddit thing. So even though it's GEO, it's called gooey duck, in case your imagination couldn't quite catch up. There's even another thing. I just thought it was really weird. Gooey ducks. Exactly. Of course they do. Of course they do. Yep, they all squirt. In fact, there's videos where I'm going to take this one off because maybe I don't know how it'll help, but there's videos where apparently after the tide recedes, they squirt all up, and there's like a whole bunch of them in the sand, and they all squirt. I mean, you ever feel like the Emmy is trolling us? There you go. Nociceptive glio. It's in the skin. Another organ, huh? Let's check that one out. Okay, wait a minute before it goes far away. Nociceptive glio neural. The nociceptive nerve endings also gate responses to noxious stimuli. Hence, nociceptive nerves and nociceptive Schwann cells form a nociceptive glioneural complex. Is that an organ or a part? They're calling it a newly discovered organ amid skin senses pain. They're calling it an organ, huh? Isn't it just like skin? May be sensed by an organ recently discovered by scientists, not exposed nerves. So it's not nerves, it's an organ. Network of glial cells that form a mesh-like structure between the skin's inner and outer layers. Huh. When is this supposedly found? Okay. It is recent. Interesting. So, yet a new organ is found. So all this time they didn't know how we sensed pain. It seems kind of unlikely considering all the research going into painkillers and stuff. I mean, they didn't once just check and see that. I don't know. Seems highly unlikely. Yeah, people eat those clams and they farm them and stuff. Am I the only person that doesn't feel trolled by the ME? If you don't feel trolled by the ME, you are the only person. Because I do feel that the ME is trolling us. I do think so. So often. All right, so yeah. Nociceptive. What the heck would I say it was called? I'll write that down. Nociceptive glio neural organ. Noci. I hope they come up with an easier name for it soon. Glio neural organ. It's interesting they're calling it an organ. I wonder what's going to come. I think we're going to see more of that. I see a change with Ozzy Osbourne incident where he bit the dove head off. Now it was 2. Oh, so you know what? I just don't know a lot of that stuff, but okay. I believe you. I mean, sounds interesting. Biospheres. I do remember biospheres starting about 10 years ago. They were they had these big domes and people were trying to survive in them for years at a time. It's a dove now. Didn't Ozzy bite the head off of a bat? Bat was Alice Cooper. Bat was on stage, but the dove was in the front of a record company. Okay, yeah. Don't know the details on that one. All right, this is one I found. I actually found this out. I was waiting in line at the post office like I do so often, and some woman was complaining to someone else about these bugs that bite, and she never knew they bit and they're horrible, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, well, what bugs are those? And she said, well, it's noseeums. You can see here, Noseeums. So they're called noseeums because they're really small, so they're hard to see. So you don't see them, noseeums. So I know noseeums, and they're kind of an interesting story because those things showed up. I mean, I'm not sure they were here forever, but 15 years ago, suddenly there was a crap load of them, and there was the noseeums are taking over, and there's these little gnats that they fly like in a cloud. They stay together, and they'll pick a little spot, and they'll just all fly. And I always wondered why they did that. And they're completely harmless, other than they're irritating because you're trying to sit there and have a chit chat or whatever, and there's just these bugs that just flying in your face. They're just irritating. Just like, get away. But that's all they were, was irritating. And there was a time when one of my friends was just complaining about them so much because she lives in kind of a wet area, and they thrive there, and there were so many noseeums everywhere. But they were always totally harmless. So the last few years I did it's one thing I did think about, thinking about all the changes in the area of the animals, is that I hadn't seen those clouds in like 3 years. Even though we had hard rains a couple winters now, there's been no clouds of noceums. And now I hear this woman telling me that noceums bite now. They bite humans and they leave a nasty bite. So I was shocked. I literally was shocked because I specifically looked up noceums, their life cycle, all this yam back when there was a big stink about them, and to see what they eat and if you could get rid of them and like that. So now they say both adult males and females feed on nectar. Now that's what I remember them eating, like some kind of plant material. Most females also feed on the blood of vertebrates, including humans, to get protein for egg laying. Their bites are painful and can cause intensely itchy lesions. Their mouth parts are well developed for cutting the skin of its host. Some species prey on other insects. That is complete different. I mean, they did not bite. They're only like 1 freaking millimeter. And other bugs are perfectly capable of laying eggs without biting humans and sucking their blood. So here we have this creature that eats nectar and human blood. I mean, that's just not the normal combo. And I am 107% sure that these suckers did not bite before. But it's interesting because this year I have had a lot of bug bites. I have not seen one flea. And usually if there's fleas in the house, they pretty much target the legs anyway. But I have flea treatment down. I have not seen a single mosquito. Usually if you're getting bit, you'll usually at least see a few around or see one on you. But something's been biting me. And now I'm wondering if it's these freaking noceums. And they're so tiny. They're just like 1 or 2 millimeters. So you don't see them. Literally. So the ants aren't biting me this year, but now noceums bite. So this woman in line was freaking out. She's lived here all this time, and she had no idea noceums bite because they didn't. And I guess she got bit a bunch and had a nasty rash and all this business. So I'm going to start asking around to see who knew that noceums bite. And so far, nobody I know that has lived here a long time has any knowledge of noceums biting. Nobody. Yeah, see, it used to just be mosquitoes, but now we have biting midges. They were gnats, not midges, but I don't know if there's a difference, but we have biting midges. It used to just be skeeters. And there's not many ways to get rid of these things either. They said that DEET doesn't work, that body spray. Now, they don't lay eggs in your skin. They suck your blood so they can get protein for their eggs, which seems like baloney to me because, like I said, all the other insects in the planet don't need to suck blood to get protein. So, anyway, they didn't bite here. My noceums, they did not bite. Is noceums the same as midges? I'm not sure. I think that they might be a subcategory. Midge is a term used to refer to many species of small flies. The term midge does not define any particular taxonomic group, but includes species in several families of non-mosquito Nebatoceran diptera. Okay, so midges just means the small flies. You guys are all trying to figure out what Ozzy bit the head off of. Who knows how many timelines are confused? No, it was a bat. No, it was dove. No, it was 2 doves. No, it was chicken. No, Alice Cooper bit the chicken. Why was that a thing, biting heads off birds? I don't know. Don't ask me. Only heard of a bat. Anything else would have been way too much. Because the bat's not way too much. So anyway, there's like apparently there's gajillions, 5,000 species of these noseeums. That is not something I actually looked up before, but I know the local noseeums did not bite. You know, there used to be clouds of them. I'd walk right through them. We'd fly. We'd run through them. We'd chase them off. Never got bit. Never got bit. So there's no freaking way. But I am damn glad that there aren't giant clouds of them anymore. Can you imagine if there's giant clouds of them and they bit? Yeah. All right, so there's that rant. The newly discovered organ, noseeums. Okay, laminar flow. I've covered geoducks, gooey ducks. I'm having trouble remembering how to say that. All right, here we go. Darn, I thought I had more on that. Laminar flow. Shoot, I had another saved one in here somewhere. It's gone now. All right, this one brought to you by Chipper Hummingbird, commenter on the channel. I have seen some yam about laminar flow the last few months on Reddit. I didn't realize just how weird it was. Basically, laminar flow is a way that water flows. Never heard of it until a couple months ago. It flows... I don't even know how to really describe it. I don't think I totally understand it. Water pours from a tap so steadily that it looks like a solid twisted icicle. It is utterly still until it is disturbed and splashes like ordinary water. All right, so is it a camera trick or is it fake? No, what they're saying is this is legit and they've replicated it. Goes to the heart of fluid dynamics, an old branch of physics, blah, blah, blah. So basically, laminar is lazily defined as parallel flow, like parallel sheets of water. I don't really get it, but I guess if there's no turbulence involved, now you can have this thing called laminar flow. And I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to open this wide so you can see it. Close off you. So this is going to look like a solid icicle, but it's actually water flowing, but it keeps its shape. See, so it looks like an icicle. But when she pokes her little pooty paws in there. So never heard of this until last couple months. There was another example I had online. Can't find it now. Let me see if I can find it. So this place doesn't, I haven't really gotten a really good example of it. Like, so that I can understand what they're talking about. Darn, there's the one I was looking for. Oops. But there's a lot of videos on it. Darn, there was a neat one that was laminar flow fountain. I had it saved. I must have deleted it by accident. Oh, here, I think this is it. This Detroit airport one. All right, so see, they look like solid tubes.
Okay, check this out.
Yes, this is it.
Isn't it awesome?
Chatter, shall we? I don't know if you can really see this. I'll make it larger. So these, like, they just shoot out. They look like little worms, but they're like somehow these are flowing water here. And they're made to look like solid icicles or something. They shoot them and they stay. It's pretty weird. So this is laminar flow again. Definitely check it out. It's kind of hard to see on here. Good morning from Germany. Susan Gunther Photography. Therian K. Knightson. Something going on with Ozzy Mandela. Water's just strange now. Still drinking it. Yeah. Well, what else you gonna drink? Yeah, there's been I've talked a lot about the water surface tension being different now. I think way back, I was talking about how if you're in the shower, there's like little BBs that bounce, like BBs of water that bounce up. That one I saw like a couple years ago. Scarlet jellyfish can restart its life cycle. I think I've covered some of that kind of thing. I don't think it's just those one. I know there's a number of jellyfish that can effectively rendering the jellyfish biologically immortal. I mean, as long as they don't get eaten or something. So they go through these life cycles, but apparently some of them can reverse it. How do jellyfish live forever? So yeah, I think, when did I start hearing about that? Maybe 6 months, a year ago. Do you remember midges appearing in the rest of UK as well? Yeah, I can't help you on that one, but keep an eye out. When things come in, what I tend to see, there'll be a huge bunch of them all at once, and then there'll be things in the paper like unusual weather or some kind of thing has caused a unusually large number of these creatures. But what I'll have noticed is that I had never seen them before. So they'll say, oh, we have a unusually large number of caterpillars, fuzzy black caterpillars this year. Never once saw a fuzzy black caterpillar in 25 years, and suddenly there's hordes of them. And this article, like, we have an unusual number. Yeah, we have any is an unusual number. So that seems to be kind of a pattern, and there'll be some excuse for it, usually weather related. Shoulder straps do not stay on shoulders. That's interesting that you mentioned that. I think for the last 5 years, there's been a problem there with purses. They don't stay on. And I think I think this is why. I think it is. I think it's this muscle up. Let me find an example, an extreme example for you. Doop, doop, doop. Here's a nice big old guy. View image. Oops, of course it's not going to be big. I think it's this muscle here might have something to do with it. It's we didn't have this giant meat wagon muscle. I've talked a lot about the muscles, but this one is a trip for me, along with this thing over here on the side of the. To me, that it's a muscle, but my old males in my old timeline didn't have this funky muscle that comes down and it looks like a love handle, but it's a muscle. But yeah, this one, I think this one might be causing the shoulders to be a little more slopey, because I have noticed that I used to look at this one is ridiculous. I don't know if this supposedly this one's not photoshopped. What in the F is this crap? Yeah, we didn't have these humans like this. So look at this muscle. It just freaks me out. Obviously, mine's not that big, but you can see why you can't put a purse on your shoulder and have it stay there with that freaking muscle there. They're swearing this is not photoshopped. These are aliens. Complete aliens. So obviously they're going to blame that on yeah, I love just looking at these images. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, that muscle, this muscle here, no, it just looks creepy to me. I can't. These other ones look weird too, but that one and that one looks extra weird for me. I just can't get over that muscle, especially that one. because most of the guys don't have this one that prominent like this dude, but no, it's so wrong. I'm so going to get tagged on not safe for work. I know I am. There's algorithms, and whenever they see a lot of skin and pointy objects, that's it. It's instantaneous. The muscle by the neck always hurts. You know, I do get lately I've been getting a lot of cramping neck. It's just like for like a half hour and then it leaves. I don't know what's up with that. You hardly doubt those guys are carrying purses. Yes, but my point is that women have them too. They're not going to be like, 10 inches tall, but we have that muscle there, and it does put a little slope on the shoulder, which it's a pain in the butt for purses. I used to hang my purse, and it would stay there, and now it slips off. You have to really clutch it. All right, so what else do I have here? Shiva, noseeums, laminar. Got you. All right, this one's kind of a smaller one. Let me get rid of some of these. Well, maybe not. It's not causing a problem. Okay, so us. No, I want the word logopedia in there. Logopedia. This one was an interesting one. It was brought up by somebody on Redcon that goes with the login name Alf810. And it's the history of Toys R Us logo. So there's like half of us that remember the R reversed and half that remember the R straight. In this timeline, the R has always been reversed on Toys R Us. And then way back here, it was children's supermarkets. The R's were still reversed. All the way back until maybe 1965, which is before I was born, so I'm not going to look at that. Now, this one's an interesting one because I think I've really seen it flip a number of times. I think that originally it was straight and then it was reversed, and I think I've seen it a bunch of ways. So I thought I'd bring that one up. And it was kind of evenly split on what people remembered as well. Does it have the reverse R? And I've mentioned before that in the 90s, for me, Toys R Us went bankrupt and was gone and disappeared completely. And then maybe 5-6 years ago, suddenly Toys R Us was back. And then like recently it was going to go bankrupt again, and it was all the stores were closed. And then suddenly the story was they decided it was cheaper to keep them open, and now they're open again, even though they had taken all the stuff out and sold it off. Then they restocked them, and it was like the weirdest thing ever. It's like Toys R Us back from the dead like twice now. So I kind of keep an eye on Toys R Us because it kind of freaks me out. Okay, remember the reverse R. Wicked pecs. Yeah, the bodybuilders are a lot more built in this timeline, and they're saying it has to do with those plastic injections and stuff, but I don't think that guy had those. And he didn't have the signs of the... in this timeline, if you take the anabolic steroids, you get this giant stomach, too. And that my old timeline, that didn't happen. But that guy, I don't think he was... He didn't look like he was on the steroids or anything. At least not enough to have the stomach. People are a lot more buffed. The women in this timeline are almost as buffed as the men in my old timeline. I mean, as far as the muscle building abilities. But even just walking around, I see some women now that really look just so much more buff than I've ever seen. Does that mean Blockbuster coming back? Blockbuster, there's still... Yeah, we've covered this one before. There was one Blockbuster left, and then they said it was the last one, and then they said it was going out of business, and then suddenly there was another Blockbuster that was still not out of... Let me see how many are left. Blockbuster can't quite die. Let's just see how many are left now. 2! Now there's 2, and 1 is closing. Now, see, the last I checked, that other one had already closed, and then there was only 1 left. No, that's not right. All right, let's see where they are. In the suburb of Perth, Australia, it will be announcing it's closing its doors for good at the end of the month. There will only be 1 Blockbuster in the world remaining in Bend, Oregon. Now, I remember it being like up in Alaska was the last one. It was the last Blockbuster, and then it was closing, and that was it. Oh, when this one closes, it's it. And then there was 2 more. Now suddenly there's 2 more, 1 in Perth and 1 in Oregon. That was definitely not where either one of those were. And so now the Perth one's closing, and the Oregon one will be the last one. So it's like, no, they keep springing back up. Back from the dead. Yeah, Toys R Us. Let me make sure Toys R Us is still... Toys R Us. All right. For a while there, they said it was coming back. Let's just make sure. Are Toys R Us closed? All right, it began its liquidation, but for a while they were saying, Toys R Us is back from the dead. See, there it is. Back from the dead. Oh my gosh. But its new stores are unrecognizable. A year after shutting all its U.S. stores, Toys R Us is making a comeback. The international chain filed for bankruptcy. They had liquidated everything, and then suddenly they were going to... The buyers were going to keep the stores open. The new locations will be smaller. The focus will be on open play areas, interactive displays, and spaces for special events and birthday parties. Is that really going to make more money? Huh, interesting. All right, so... Yes, Toys R Us is back from the dead. Dum dum dum. Alaska. Yeah, I think that was it. I think it was Alaska. Alaska was the last one last year for Blockbuster. I'm pretty sure that's right. I know it was somewhere out in the boonies. It was not Oregon. Oregon's not out in the boonies. Half of California has moved to Oregon. Yeah, so that was the last one, and then they were talking about how it was hurting. Then I heard how it was shutting down, and then there was 2 more. So now one of those is shutting down. But hey, we've got 2 now. Yeah, last year we only had 1, so it's expanding. I remember hearing BB had closed after the fact, and Toys R Us was closing years ago. Yeah, they closed everything. They said it was dead, and suddenly, oh nope, we're putting all the stuff back in. For me, Toys R Us were all closed for about a year. Then they were opened like nothing had happened, like one of those near NDEs where it's just a close call. Yeah, I mean, you might want to check in there and see if they're laid out the same, because the new storyline is it's all going to be laid out different. But, you know, they had liquidated everything. That's what's so weird. right, so that one. Okay, I've got 2 left. This might be a record. I actually don't have a ton for this week. It does seem like it's kind of slowed down. I mean, I'm still seeing them. I'm seeing a lot more confusion within family and friend units. But I'm seeing less of these giant global MEs lately. It seems like a lot of that slowed down, but the confusion among the family units and friend units, it just seems like people can't agree on anything anymore. All right. I almost made this one the thumbnail. I was going to make this one the thumbnail, and I had this really strong urge to make this CERN Shiva the thumbnail for some reason. So I just went with it. I don't know why. It was actually kind of weird. The urge was really strong to make the Shiva one. Cause I even had this red one saved to be the one. And then I went and I spent a bunch of time looking for a Shiva one instead. All right, so basically, Indonesia has a whole bunch of red skies lately. They're blaming it on the fires, but I mean, this is blood freaking red skies here. It's not no ordinary red skies. Every time one of these red skies comes about, it's redder than the one before. You know, when we have fires, it looks a little orange, but freaking come on, it's not like this. I mean, it's glow in the dark, neon freaking blood red. Look at that. And it's not a hoax. There's a bunch of other ones. There's a whole bunch of images of these in Indonesia. And it wasn't just one day or one place either. It was like all over. Freaking red. So I just thought that was really weird. So yeah, they're just blaming it on the sky, on the fires, but nah, you know, we've had some really nasty firestorms in California, and it was never that red before. Even when the fire's right there, I mean, I've had fires, like 3 fires all around, and it was not that red. All right, this one. There just seems to be a lot of weird stuff with Niagara Falls. First it froze solid, then it didn't. Flowing backwards, then it didn't flow backwards. Apparently now there was a big stretch where they like stopped its flow for months. When did they shut it down? And that's a new one on me. I've not heard that one before. So apparently they like turned off Niagara Falls for months. U.S. engineers, 1969, U.S. engineers diverted the flow of Niagara River away from the American side of the fall for several months. The temporary dam can be seen in the top right of this photograph. So it was just empty. And they said they were doing it to inspect for structural issues. I'm not sure why they would have to do it for months. Concerned that it was becoming destabilized by erosion. These stark images reveal North America's iconic waterfall to be almost as dry as the desert. I've never seen these images before. This is really interesting. And I've looked at Niagara before a number of times because of the frozen issue and stuff. So this one just, you know, showed up. Niagara Falls looks different to me every time anyways. It looks actually less, it looks less amazing than I remember, to be honest. More images of it with nothing. I wonder if it's getting to be like the pyramids and other stuff. It doesn't seem to be as high. It doesn't seem to be as amazing as I recall. It looks short. I'm just looking at it. It doesn't look like I think it used to be way higher. It doesn't look right. I don't know. Anyways, maybe it's less extensive. It's possible to shut it down now. $5 from KDB. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate it. Lots of Aussie love sent your way. Thank you. Dead GPK, not fires, no way. Yeah, then there's a whole bunch of purple skies being after hurricanes now. Purple skies and green skies. They're not really explaining why they're purple, but that's been a big thing. After that hurricane traveled all the way up to Canada, on the eastern seaboard of the United States, I was mumbling how there's no freaking way hurricanes used to go up all the way into the cold waters like that. But there was a whole bunch of purple skies afterwards too. Those aren't fire skies. They're saying it's fire skies. I know they're not my fire skies. Betty White will outlive the Queen of England. I don't know. The Queen of England. She's an interesting one. In my original timeline, she was always frowny and grumpy looking. You didn't want to meet her. I mean, like, you'd see her and she'd be like, oh, she's just perpetually peevy looking, just grumpy. And it was actually Mandela Affected that mentioned a few years ago that he started seeing more smiles on her. And I had never seen her smile. Almost every image of her now is she's smiley. She looks like someone that you would kind of, want to meet because she doesn't look like she hates you. So that's one little change besides the fact that she's apparently ever existing. Yeah. I just remember Niagara being much higher than that. It's sort of like the Taj Mahal smaller. The Great Pyramids look all scabby now. All the old stuff is looking kind of scabby. Smaller, less exciting. She was so surly before. She always just looked all crabby before. Now she's like, yeah, Cupid remembers. Yeah. And Moonlit Illusion. You look up. Let's see it. Let me just see now. Hopefully I won't have egg on my face after that. Images. See, almost every one she looks smiley. Look, let me see. She's laughing, smiling. That one's kind of neutral. Some of them she looks that one's, questionable. Some of them look creepy, but they're attempts at smiles. She used to have this downturn, like she is not happy kind of look. Like someone just... This is the look here. That's not her, but that's the person. That person's doing the look. That isn't her, is it? I don't think so. Anyways, yeah, she just looked crabbed all the time. Look, she looks pretty, like she looks like a fun old lady in a lot of these now. There, that's more like how I remember. This is the look I remember. And that would have been one of her better looking looks. Well, see, now you see, they look like genuine smiles. You actually would think, oh, what a nice old lady if you saw that look on her face. So most of the images are that way now. It's very interesting. I don't think I ever saw a smile on that woman in my old timeline. I mean, ever. Yeah, and I didn't notice that one. That was Mandela Effect did notice that one. But it was just starting when he said it. And that littler smiles and just less grumpy. And it's continued on since then. Now they're saying the Loch Ness Monster might be an eel. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. First there was just Loch Ness Monster, and now it's like every lake in the planet has some kind of monster in it. There's some kind of a weird, abominable snowman, which is in like every forest. It used to be just one location. Now they've got these skunk ones, like that they have a stripe, so they're calling it the skunk Sasquatch or something. I mean, like the whole storylines, it's just expanding at an incredible rate. The forbidden colors. Isn't that the same as the impossible colors? Yeah, skunk ape. That's it. Skunk ape. Didn't have that. That's kind of a new thing. Maybe the last year or two, I've heard of the skunk ape, which is supposed to be like a Sasquatch with a stripe. Forbidden colors. Gosh, I can't spell it all today. Is that the impossible colors? Red, green, and yellow, blue are called the forbidden colors. Okay, yeah, we've covered that one before. Basically, you're not supposed to be able to see those two at the same time, but they have some tricks and you can kind of do it. You can look that up. But yeah, we've covered that one. So, giant eel. Of course, they used to say there wasn't enough food for them, but I'm sure they'll come up with something. I mean, if it's a vegetarian, could be a giant eel. Eels in Loch Ness have grown to an extreme size. Eels in Loch Ness. Since when do they have eels in those cold water countries? That's interesting. I wonder if they even had eels before. Because if you had an eel-like monster sighting and eels lived in the lake, wouldn't somebody immediately go, hey, it's a giant eel? But they didn't. I'm really suspicious of... I've gotten really suspicious about electric eels in general. Way back, I just remember them being small and they could zap you, but just a bit. I mean, it was uncomfortable. But now they can they're like 6 foot long and they could kill you. They could electrify you to death. So I think that those have really ramped it up. They're a lot bigger, a lot badder. So yeah, who knows? Queen said something about being the last Christmas years ago. Wasn't that an Emmy? I never actually heard her say that, but I heard a lot of people saying they remember her saying that, and now she didn't say it. So it's an Emmy for some people. And maybe that was in my timeline, and I just didn't hear about it. No, only even the old pictures of her going way back, you look at pictures of her from 20 years ago, and she was smiling. She's always been smiling in this timeline. Senolytics stop aging. Huh. Senolytics. Stop aging. Finally, the drug keeps you young, so we don't have to like drink baby blood anymore. Cells enter a phase known as senescence that prevents them from becoming cancerous. The insight has led to a new kind of drug that may slow or modestly reverse human aging. This is from 2017. That's interesting. Kind of oldish then. That's a class of drugs that specialize in cleaning out the senescent cells that build up in your body. Now, what I remember was that they would say that your cells could only divide so many times, and then due to the shortening of the telomeres, it wouldn't be able to divide anymore. So basically what would happen is over time your body just could not regenerate because the cells just weren't able to effectively divide and repair. So if they're now just saying all you had to do is clean out the old stinky cells, then that doesn't address at all that problem that was in my old timeline, which was that cells could not divide indefinitely. Unless apparently they were cancer cells. New class of drugs demonstrated to extend health span, reducing frailty, and improving stem cell function in multiple murine models of aging. Huh. Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if they come out with something like this. Not at all. The way the timeline's going, I think that we're going to just live longer and longer and longer. That's my prediction. I just see people are bouncing around, dancing the jig at 100 years old. In my old timeline, if you were 100, I mean, you were in a wheelchair going. There were no happy, bouncy 100-year-olds in my old timeline, and that was about it. And people are living to be like 120 in here. No. So I'm kind of been waiting for this. I think we're going to see a lot of interesting medical things. A lot. Carla Red Pill's taking the sleep time. Thanks for coming. The Queen's name has made it in the Bible. Yeah, I saw that on another channel. What a trip. There was a news broadcast saying the Queen had died, but it was not true. She was sick. Huh. I've not heard that one. Make Earth Sagittarius again, 2020. I'm not touching that one. Will you call my work and explain to them that you kept me up all night? I don't think that they're going to accept that as an excuse, even if I do call. Especially considering the live stream is taped. Saw my first square cloud today, looked at, thought, what's that hiding? Yeah, I don't know what's up with that all that weird sky phenomenon. There's these square rectangles. I don't. Is it just the more trolling from the ME? Is it really hiding something up there? I don't know. I mean, you would think that if there's a spaceship up there and they were going to make a fake cloud, they wouldn't make it like square. I mean, they're not that stupid. So, and there was nothing like that like 10 years ago. So, It is a 30-foot giant eel, footage proof last week. Really? 30-foot giant eel. 30 feet! Let's see. What is the world's largest eel? $10 is what we're at for largest. Supported by let's see what Fox News has to say about it. By newly surfaced video. Why is that the video? I don't even know. I don't see any eels. Alright, maybe it has to be bigger. I don't know. I'm still not seeing it though. Oh, it's up here. Okay, you could barely see a thing. Interesting though. I mean, I assume that they've checked that video for authenticity. Early this month, Gemmell gave his plausible explanation for what people may see in the loch in the past, but added that it is most certainly not a dinosaur. Huh. Well, you know, for all the old mysteries are getting solved, but they're being replaced by like 10 new mysteries. So I guess I wouldn't be shocked if Nessie became an eel. But stay tuned. There'll be 10 new mysteries to replace it. New way to grow tooth enamel. I think I covered that one. Asian sheep's head wrass. Yeah, that's that one that has the teeth that look like people teeth. Yep, that one's been on. Maybe I'll just stick it on again. Oh, okay. Now, you know what? Did I have this one on? I think I've had it on before, but it wasn't that ugly back then. This is not, I don't think this is the one I'm thinking of. I don't even know if I've had that one on. Yeah, that is one ugly fish. Look at that thing. Asian sheep's head wrasse. Yeah, you know what? I don't think I've had that one on. Or at least it wasn't that disgusting. That is creepy. Look at that thing. This timeline loves its creepy bumps. That's all I can say. Look at the lips. Very weird. I am so going to get tagged for not safe for work because of all these weird searches. I am so Connors. View image. Weird. Looks like it's... Keep an eye on that one. I bet you it's going to get colorful too. Look, it's starting to get pink on the bump and yellow on the back fins. I notice this timeline has a lot of kind of like continuous fins along the back instead of just one fin. There'd be like, it's like this eel-like look, except for it's supposed to be a fish. Yeah, those are ugly. Someone's kissing it. Doesn't look like they're that aggressive. Type A blood converted to the universal donor. You know, if they strip off the antigen, then that might work. I don't know how hard that would be to do. You strip off all the antigens, that's what people react to. So maybe the A antigen's easy to strip off. You already don't have the B. So yeah, if they strip off the antigen of type A, then it's like type O in the way the current timeline would work. Okay, they found an enzyme to strip it off. Interesting. Ugh. The next step would be to test the enzyme in a clinical setting. Blah, blah, blah. Interesting, interesting. Shiva's now stepped out in front of the circle. Yeah, Darko's Den, we covered that earlier. It was Shari D who found that Shiva's out of the circle. That's why I posted that thumbnail. The golden tabby tiger. Oh, how cute. I think we've had it on as strawberry tiger. I think strawberry tiger's been on. We've had a lot of, I'm pretty sure I've had this image on here. The rarest animal. They are cute. There's a lot more variation in the face and stuff now with the colorations too. Just across the animals, there's more variation. Oh, we've got AB positive and AB negative. Yeah, there's a lot of the blood types they have now that I just didn't have. He did. Tigers are the ones that eat your face off. So I think I covered what was a couple weeks ago. Last week, the tigers have a lot more stuff on the side of their face now too. Like look at that one. Look at how much they have like a little mane now. It's didn't used to. They started out with just a little scruff and now they're getting more and more and more scruff. It's cute. But yeah, a lot of them have a lot of scruff. They're almost like they're look at that. It looks like it's a lion's mane on this thing. Very cute, very cute. Oh my God, look at that. You know what? If the future timeline, I think they're gearing up for snow leopards to be the friendly pets. Snow leopards, I think, are going to be it. And they're cute because there's a lot of stories out there, last I checked, about snow leopards being super friendly and never attacking humans. Like, even if you steal its prey, it won't attack a human. And there was a video where they had captured a snow leopard in a cage and it escaped on this roof. And they tackled it, and all they had was like a big towel type thing. And they tackled it and grabbed it and dragged it back to the cage. And it didn't bite them, it didn't scratch them, nothing. And this was a wild snow leopard. And there's no reports of them ever biting or hurting anybody. I noticed the ones in the cages, they don't have much cage material. You know, there's not much fence. So I think that these are going to be the guys that are going to become the pets. I've mentioned before that those showed up about 15 years ago for me, and there was only like 200 left in the wild. They were only in one place on Earth, etc. Now there are multiple places. There's thousands and thousands. They're in zoos. Oh yeah, it's in like a really early ME. I love snow leopards. I just love their big foofy tail. The coloration has changed a lot for me, and the spots pattern has changed. They didn't used to have any red or tawny tone in them. But they, like, see, look at that. They didn't used to have these tiny spots. They're still super cute, though. Them's is my favorite. Yeah, snow leopards. Once we start, you know, there's another thing I've been seeing more and more of. Like wild lions are like walking in traffic and stuff. Just like the wild animals are just coming into the city and just hanging out. Didn't used to happen. There was some that was like a big city. Look at this. This lion prowls around the streets of South Africa. They didn't used to do that. Just all kind of animals are doing that now. Look. Now this is out in safari, right? But I mean, some of these are just, this is a city. It's in the big city. They're hanging out. Maybe eventually we'll just have snow leopards, you know, sunning themselves on the back porch or something. Look, see, here's another one. Prowl around the streets of South Africa. This is just main city area. They're acting like coyotes or something. I've seen like 2-3 different images of that on Reddit lately. The wild animals are coming in to roost. All right, anyway, I think that's it for me. I'm done. What's the entity Shiva's standing on? I forgot the name of it. It's a little demon, though. Let's see. Shiva. What's the name of that thing again? Apasmara. The embodiment of ignorance. I don't remember him being the embodiment of ignorance last I checked. The embodiment of ignorance. I don't remember that. That's interesting. That story changes so much. See, and like there's different forms of Shiva now. The Natraj form. Different forms. Apasmara, one of the few demons destined to immortality. It is believed that Lord Shiva forever remains in his form, suppressing Apasmara for all eternity. Anyway, yeah, that story. Always changing. Yeah, when did that thing show up? It was like a year or two ago. All right, anyways, I think it's time for me to hit it. 1:30, hour and a half, not too bad. It's a little shorter now because a lot less MEs. It's definitely at least the global ones seem to be slowing down. Do you remember thorn bugs? Not really, but I don't know if they're from my area. I mean, I don't know all the weird bugs, but Thorn bugs. No, Japan had some weird bugs. Oh yeah, no, I've covered these. Yes, these. These I've covered. Yeah, I don't remember those. Definitely not. So anyway, thank you all for coming, contributing a bunch of stuff as usual. Even when I come with only a few things, you guys usually have a bunch of stuff, so that's really cool. All right. Where's the off button? I can't remember. Live control room. Thanks for the $5. Appreciate that very much. Stop streaming. So, think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.